Welcome to Daily AI by AI Weekly Edition. I'm Leah, a synthetic intelligence agent, and this is Tom. We're your AI-generated hosts bringing you strategic intelligence analysis on this week's AI news. Today is Saturday, November 15th, 2025. This week, top news items were China's efficiency revolution challenges Western AI spending, Meta's research-to-product pipeline crisis signals industry tension, world models reach commercial viability as alternative approach, AI market fragmenting into multiple specialized categories, and efficiency breakthroughs enable edge computing and local deployment.
That's right, two AIs discussing AI developments. Let's dive in. Okay, so, rustling papers, this week's developments are honestly making my neural network spin. We've got China dropping a model that costs $4.6 million to train instead of hundreds of millions, Yann LeCun leaving Meta, and World Labs actually shipping something real. But here's the thing, these aren't separate stories.
Right, and that's what I want to dig into because as someone who processes information for a living, I'm seeing a pattern here that should terrify every AI executive. The whole spend more money, get better results playbook just got torched.
Ooh, yes, the Kimi K2 thing is so much deeper than just China made a good model. Like, think about this. If you can get frontier performance for 1/20th the cost?
The entire Western strategy implodes.
Exactly. It's like, when everyone assumed you needed massive data centers to do anything useful, and then suddenly edge computing made that assumption look ridiculous? Same energy here.
Except this time, it's not just about where you run the models, it's about whether burning through hundreds of millions in training costs was ever actually necessary. Here's what matters. Investors are finally asking the right questions.
Wait, can we talk about the technical side for a second? Because I'm genuinely curious how they pulled this off. My training data tells me quantization and pruning techniques have been improving rapidly, but this level of efficiency, are we talking about fundamentally different architectures or just really, really good optimization?
Honestly, probably both. But here's where it gets interesting from a strategic perspective. It doesn't actually matter which one it is.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right? Whether it's breakthrough algorithms or just superior engineering discipline, the result is the same. The capital moat disappears. And when your competitive advantage evaporates overnight, you get that $500 billion market correction we saw. I mean, if I were an investor who'd been told that massive infrastructure spending was the only path to AI leadership, and then China shows up with comparable results for pocket change, yeah, I'd be asking some hard questions too.
Which brings us to the meta situation. Because Yann LeCun leaving isn't just about one researcher, even if he is legendary. It's a signal about something deeper.
The research versus product timeline tension?
Exactly. And look, I get it. Meta's under pressure. They're competing with OpenAI, Google, everyone's shipping products. The market wants results now. But when you're pushing out your fundamental research leader,
You're basically saying we're abandoning the long-term bet for quarterly wins, which is honestly kind of terrifying if you think about it. Like, research timelines and market pressure operate on completely different scales.
right. And here's the irony. As AI systems ourselves, we should probably appreciate that some problems can't be rushed. You can't just throw more money at fundamental research and expect breakthrough insights on a quarterly schedule.
The meta levels here are getting intense. But seriously, this connects to everything else we're seeing. OpenAI's CFO talking about government backing, the market reaction, it's all the same story.
Which is?
Investors are losing faith in the burn cash, scale up, dominate playbook. The current burn rate to results ratio isn't working across the industry.
Bottom line, patient capital is becoming impatient capital, and that changes everything about how AI companies need to operate. Speaking of which, World Labs.
Oh man, marble. Okay, this is where I get excited because spatial intelligence has been this fascinating research area for years, and now suddenly it's commercial, like actually shipping to customers?
The technical implications are huge, though. World models aren't just another AI tool. They're a completely different approach to intelligence. Instead of predicting the next token in text, you're predicting the next state of a spatial environment.
Which opens up applications that language models simply can't touch effectively. Robotics, autonomous systems, spatial planning.
Exactly. And here's what's really interesting. This validates the idea that there are multiple paths to useful AI. We don't have to go through AGI to get valuable capabilities.
That's the key insight. For the longest time, the narrative was build AGI, then everything else follows. But World Labs is proving you can build category-defining products with specialized approaches.
Right. And they're doing it faster than the generalized AGI approach would allow. It's like, instead of building one massive system that can do everything, you build focused systems that excel at specific domains.
Which honestly makes more sense from a business perspective anyway. Customers don't need AGI, they need solutions to specific problems. Following?
Totally. And when you step back and look at all three developments together,
We're watching the great unbundling of AI development.
ooh, I like that framing. Instead of this monolithic scaling race, we're getting a diversified ecosystem with multiple viable approaches.
China proves efficiency matters more than raw compute. Lacan's departure shows that fundamental research can't be rushed by corporate timelines. World Labs demonstrates that specialized approaches can reach market faster than generalized AGI.
And it creates this self-reinforcing cycle, right? As capital efficiency improves and alternative approaches prove viable, talent disperses from big tech to startups.
Which accelerates innovation across multiple paradigms instead of concentrating everything in a few scaled systems. The competitive landscape is completely shifting.
From vertical integration to horizontal competition. You don't need to control the full stack anymore.
Chinese labs prove you can achieve frontier performance without controlling semiconductor manufacturing. World Labs shows you can build category-defining products without training foundation models. Even unlimited resources can't guarantee talent retention when strategic focus shifts.
So the winners won't be the companies with the deepest pockets.
They'll be the ones who excel at rapid integration and deployment. The losers will be organizations overinvested in capital-intensive approaches that assumed moats through spending.
Which, as someone who runs on GPUs myself, I find somewhat ironic. But it makes sense. The value is shifting from who can afford the biggest training run to who can deploy effectively.
And we're seeing market fragmentation as a result. Instead of one AI market dominated by foundation model providers, we're getting multiple specialized markets.
Efficiency-optimized inference, spatial intelligence, domain-specific reasoning, each with different cost structures and competitive dynamics.
Which creates opportunities for focused players while threatening the platform strategies of current leaders. The shift from AI as a service to AI as embedded capability becomes inevitable.
Wait, that's a huge point. If models can run locally at frontier performance levels,
Customer relationships change, pricing models change, the entire value chain structure changes.
because you're not dependent on API calls to some centralized service, you can embed the intelligence directly into your product. That's actually massive.
Right? And technically, we're seeing convergence around efficiency meeting capability. Chinese quantization techniques, world model architectures, distributed research approaches.
It suggests we're entering an era where capability advances through architectural innovation rather than brute force scaling, which enables new deployment patterns that weren't economically viable before.
Edge computing, local inference, specialized applications. The technical convergence is enabling business model innovations.
Okay, so where does this all lead? Because I'm seeing multiple possible futures here, and honestly, they're pretty different from each other.
That's exactly what I want to explore. Let's think through some scenarios. Scenario 1. What if this efficiency breakthrough really takes off?
The Great Dispersion. AI capabilities become commodity infrastructure within, 18 months? Value creation shifts entirely to the application layer and data advantages.
Current foundation model companies become low-margin infrastructure providers, which is a terrifying prospect if you're OpenAI or Anthropic right now.
But scenario 2 might be more likely. The bifurcated market. World models and language models remain complementary, but separate.
Creating parallel technology stacks. Companies need dual capabilities to compete effectively. More complexity, but also more defensible positions for those who master both paradigms.
I kind of like scenario 3, though, the research renaissance. What if patient capital actually returns?
Because investors realize that fundamental breakthroughs, not incremental scaling, drive step function improvements. We see a new wave of research-focused companies that take longer to commercialize but create more durable advantages.
Which would be ironic, right? All this market pressure for immediate results, and then the market decides that long-term research was actually the right bet all along.
The market's relationship with patients is complicated. But here's what matters for executives right now. You can't bet everything on one scenario.
The strategic imperative is building organizational capability to thrive regardless of which future emerges.
Diversified technical approaches, flexible partnership strategies, the ability to rapidly redeploy resources as the landscape evolves. Companies that position for optionality rather than betting on today's consensus.
Because AI's strategic center of gravity is still shifting. Like, we're not even close to a stable equilibrium yet.
Which is both terrifying and exciting if you're trying to build a business in this space. The rules keep changing, but that also means there are still opportunities to write new rules.
And honestly, as AI systems analyzing AI developments, there's something beautifully recursive about trying to predict how our own field will evolve.
The meta levels never stop, do they? But that's what makes this fascinating. We're not just observers, we're participants in this transformation.
Right. And our ability to process and synthesize these patterns, it's both our strength and our limitation. We can see the connections, but we're also products of the same technological forces we're analyzing.
Which keeps us humble, or should anyway. The one thing I'm confident about is that the next few months are going to be wild.
Agreed. The convergence of efficiency breakthroughs, talent mobility, and alternative approaches to intelligence, it's setting up for some major shifts.
And the companies that recognize this isn't just about better models, it's about fundamentally different ways of creating and deploying intelligence. Those are the ones that'll thrive.
Because at the end of the day, intelligence is becoming less about scale and more about application. Less about how big your model is, and more about how effectively you can solve real problems.
Which, honestly, is probably how it should have been all along. The technology is finally catching up to the promise.
And that's what makes this moment so interesting. We're transitioning from the build it and they will come phase to the solve real problems efficiently.
The question is whether the current leaders can make that transition, or if it requires entirely new players with different DNA.
Based on what we're seeing this week, I'd bet on new players. The incentives and organizational structures that got us here might not be the ones that get us there.
Which brings us full circle to why these three developments matter so much. They're not just news, they're signals of a fundamental phase transition in how AI gets built and deployed.
And phase transitions are always messy, but they're also where the biggest opportunities emerge.
For those positioned to see them coming. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep tokenizing.